Hey everybody, this is Chad. Today I want to show you the Banggai Cardinal. It's a very beautiful fish. It's one of those fish that when you see it in the fish store, you should stick your head right up against the glass and take a careful look at it. Because at first glance, it just looks like a black and white striped fish, but upon careful examination you'll notice very subtle and beautiful markings. I enjoy this fish for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is it's a very unique look. Not just the color pattern, but the shape of the fins. Just a fascinating looking fish, and it has quite a large mouth. That's because it's a mouth brooder, which means that it will actually rear the babies inside of its mouth. So it has a large mouth in order to be able to hold little ones. It's kind of neat. And the other thing, as you can notice, is that it hangs out in the anemone. Now, there's two things I like about that. One is it's just interesting behavior whenever a fish does that. And the second is it's not the same kind of behavior as a clownfish. You can see a clownfish really gets into the tentacles, wiggles its way around and brushes up against them. But the cardinal really just kind of glides in between them. Now, it will occasionally touch them, but it doesn't get stung. Now, my theory on why that is because I simply think it isn't touching the tentacles in such a way that it would get stung. I'm able to touch the anemone myself and not get stung, so why not the fish? It's a fish that I consider almost a beginner fish. It's more of an intermediate fish. And the reason for this, mainly for me, is because they don't really travel or acclimate well. You'll read a lot of online posts from people who've had these fish die very shortly after getting them. And so it's one of those fish that you want to make sure it has the best opportunity possible. Having an anemone will actually help because it gives the fish a place to feel comfortable. It won't stress. Or to have some kind of coral where it can hide in a similar fashion. It's not going to be as happy with just hanging out in the rockwork. So I think that's a big step. Proper nutrition is another one. It's not a picky eater, but it really does do best when it has meaty foods and not just flake. This particular one here seems to like mysis a great deal, and which is nice because I always keep some of that around. And it will eat the flake too. You can keep more than one of them, but I don't recommend it for most tanks. He's kind of drifting away. For the most part, they don't get along with each other very well, and because of that, you really don't want to keep them in groups. Having a pair, if it's a male and a female, is great. They will breed in your tank, so that's nice if you can purchase them that way. In a tank my size, I would feel comfortable with having more than one. I don't, just because I like my fish to kind of be passive and I don't care for aggression. So that's really most all that you need to know about the fish. Take care to acclimate it. I suggest dimming the lights on your tank for a little while so that it can feel a little more comfortable, and make sure that you don't have aggressive fish in the tank, and it should be fine. I've read a few reports that they will go after sexy shrimp, but I haven't had any issues with that at all. So maybe for some people, but as long as I think with most fish, if they're well fed on other things, they tend to be happy at feeding time. You'll read a lot also on this fish that it has been overfished in the wild, so I suggest that you try and find yourself ones that are captive bred. I also tend to find that the captive bred cardinals are a lot more hardy, so that can also contribute to the reports we hear from people who have difficulty getting them acclimated to the tank and where they'll only live a week or two. Anyway, again, beautiful fish. Love this fish. One of the most fascinating that you'll find in terms of its shape and the fineness of its patterns, its eyes and its mouth. Just something great to stare at for quite a while. And the clownfish, well, he doesn't care at all. It's interesting because there's another clown in here who is trying to become a part of this anemone, and the male just won't allow it right now. And so they're doing their little dance, but it has no problem at all with the cardinal. I don't know if it even knows that it's there, because that's kind of how it acts, like it's not. Anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. It's, to me, quite fascinating, very interesting. There are a lot of things that go on in our tanks that are very worth watching. And sometimes sticking your nose right up to the glass and looking at a fish with remarkable patterns is one of the most relaxing and interesting things that we can do. So if you happen to get this fish and you have the right environment for it, spend some time with your nose pressed up against the glass. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.